Hello everybody, I'm Richard Gon of Work to Live podcast version. So this time, I'd like to talk about that. The homeless people are the strongest, or the homeless is the strongest. About which, I'd like to tell you stories. So, in this time, what I'd like you to know is that if you can stand the condition or the situation where the homeless is in, or if you can stand the poor condition where, how should I say, vagabonds are in, you can become you can become a richer or the richest. And why why I can say is because please imagine please imagine the condition of homeless people. So they have no money. Generally speaking, what we understand is that what we understand about homeless people is that homeless people have no money, which means they they have no money, or they have few money, which is why their expenses are limited, or their expenses have to be smaller than our expenses. Which so in this episode, I assume that you are ordinary people, or you're the same people as we are. So I'm a I'm a I'm a white collar worker. Well, anyway, I'm a worker living in an Asian country, and the country I live in is a developed country in Asia. So I'm sorry, I'm not so good at English, from which I think you can understand where I live in. And if you are frequent listeners, if you are a frequent listener, you can understand where I live in. So anyway, so considering comparing the expenses between homeless people and ordinary people, the expenses of homeless people are smaller than those of ordinary people, or those of ordinary people, actually. Because to start with. So you know, rich people are smart, and some rich people do not spend a lot of money, even comparing with ordinary people. So there's a Japanese rich person. There's a Japanese rich person who spends smaller amount of expense than ordinary Japanese people. There is such a rich people. Also, there are such rich people. So some rich people in my country, in the case of this country, some rich people do not spend a lot of money comparing with ordinary ordinary people, or the general public in this country, which is what I like you to know. So another example is that there is a Japanese person with Japanese national there's a Japanese person with Japanese nationality who lives in a Southeast Asian country, and comparing cost of living between South Southeast Asian countries and that of this country, the, the cost of living of Southeast Asian countries are lower than that of this country. By using which that rich person by by re- by using that relation between the cost of livings in Southeast Asian countries and that of this country, that rich person can can lower the expense that the rich person has to pay. Let me tell you again. So that rich person uses the relation of the cost of living, by doing which the rich person can reduce, or lower the expenses that rich person has to pay. So the rich person can get a lot of disposable income, which is why that person could become rich. Like which, to become rich, you have to. It's easy to lower the expense, which means you know, which means if you like to become rich, it's fine to it's fine to lower the expense, by doing which your own disposable income. So what matters in this situation is that, you know, if you can stand to if you can stand the condition, well, this is an extreme condition, or this is an extreme example that if you could live on as a homeless, or if you could live on as a vagabond, for example, and if you could stand such a poor conditions, or if you could stand, or if you could live on such impoverished conditions without any suffering, you can, and if you have a manner, or if you have a skill to make a moderate amount of money, for example, you can use a lot of money comparing with other people, because, you know, even if you can earn moderate average amount of money in your country, but if you do not have to pay a lot of money just for living on, you can use a lot of disposable income. Disposable income is disposable income is a value which which you which you can get by your own revenue, subtracting your own expense. So benefit is your own disposable income. So which is what I'd like you to know this time. So going back to the original topic. So the the homeless is the strongest. The homeless people are the strongest. By with this title, I'd like you to know is that if you lower your own expense, and this is an extreme condition, but if you can stand a condition where homeless people are in, or where vagabonds are in, you don't have to pay a lot of money. You don't have to pay that much money, or you don't have to pay average amount of money. So you can make a lot of disposable income, even if you earn moderate amount of money, or if even if your wage, or even if your income is it's the same as the average people, or average wages of your country. If you can lower your own expense, you can get a lot of disposable income and by for example, by investing that disposable income into beneficial assets. Anything is fine. Real estate and stocks or shares of huge companies. By using investments, you can make a lot of money. So, which is what I'd like you to know this time. So, going back to the original topic. So, homeless people are the strongest. If you have if you have a manner to create even moderate amount of money, or higher, if you have a skill to make a lot of money, well exceeding the income of average people, you can easily become one of the richest person. So in which way homeless people are invincible, which is what I'd like you to know this time. That's it. Thank you very much for your listening. See you.